Hello and welcome from the Morgan Conservatory. Today I'm going to talk about a couple supplies that you can use to make paper from home. The first thing that you're going to need when making paper at home is a mold and a decal. This part is called a mold and this is called a decal. It's basically what you are going to form your finished sheets on. This mold and decal is made very simply from two matching picture frames. Then it is covered with a chicken wire and then some window screening, which will catch the paper pulp and drain the water. You're also going to need something to make paper out of. One of the first easy things that you can make paper out of is pre-existing construction paper. You just take scissors and you cut it up and you let it soak for a while, and then once you process the pulp, it can pull some simple basic sheets of paper. If you're going to be processing your own pulp at home, you're also going to need a blender. Pulp can also be purchased from the Morgan Conservatory. When using a blender to process pulp, you want to make sure that it's not going to be one that you're going to use for food again. Any materials that we make pulp out of, like recyclables or construction paper, can have dyes and inks in them that can contaminate your blender and are not food safe. Normally you can find blenders at a thrift store for a couple of dollars, and that's a great way to process your own pulp at home. Another important thing is going to be your vat. Your vat is going to be where your water and pulp will be, and you will pull your mold and decal through it to create your sheets. The vat that I like to use is just a concrete mixing tub that you can pick up at any hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot. If you don't have this, another great option is to use a large Tupperware storage container or something like that. You just want to make sure that your tub is going to fit the mold and decal that you're using so that you can pull through the water and the pulp comfortably without hitting the bottom or making it harder on yourself to pull the sheets. If you have a smaller tub than this, then I suggest you just make a smaller mold so that it's a comfortable pull. When I'm pulling, I usually like to have two bins, one for my pulp, one that I can keep stuff like felt or pellets in, or if I'm working in a space that the floor can't get wet, I'll actually form my sheets inside this. Right now I'm using this to soak my felts and my pellon. When you're making paper, felts and pellons are used to separate your sheets of paper. Depending on what you use, you can get a different texture from your paper surface. For example, if you use felts when you pull, you're going to get like a rougher, more natural textured surface. If you use pellon, which is just quilt interfacing, you're going to get a smoother surface. Pellon is something that you can get at any store like Joann's Fabrics. You can just ask them if they have quilt interfacing and they'll have a couple different types. I like to use this type that's a little bit firmer, but they also have a softer selection too. And as for felts, you can get them from craft stores, and normally like you can get small packs of like 11 by 8.5, and those work great, and you can do a bunch of small sheets on those. Lastly, when making paper, you're going to need a workstation. Paper making is a very wet process, so you want to make sure that you're either controlling the amount of water in your space or it's a space that can get wet. Working outdoors is great, but if you have to work inside, then that's where the two tubs comes in handy. You can have one tub where you have your pulp, and you can have another tub where you're cooching your finished sheets, and the water will all collect in that vat. Thanks for watching!